Hey everybody, Max here, and today we'll be taking a look at the G.I. Joe Classified series, Richard Crystal Ball King. The Cobra interrogator himself gets the classified treatment, so stick around and let's see what we can see. But remember, what you see may not really be there. Okay, so here he is. No fancy lighting, no fancy voicing. It's just a regular guy. Green parts are green, kind of translucent. They don't glow, unfortunately. Box, standard stuff. Cobra Richard Crystal Ball King, created by Stephen King's son originally, if I'm not mistaken. So, Cobra Interrogator, these are all like hallucination effects, I guess. These are not real. This is not a real like headdress or anything. Awesome artwork right here. I hope a person painted this and not AI. It looks too good to have been done by AI, so I'm thinking it was probably a person, which is awesome. The diorama shot on the back, always like those. Looks like he's on the roof of something. I don't know what the story is there, but it looks cool nonetheless. So, and then you have the QR code that goes nowhere, but you get to see a little more of the artwork. So like you can see the flaming sword and everything. So, and he's 159 in the line. So that is cool. He comes with quite a bit actually, because the original figure came with next to nothing. I think he only came with his little hypno disc and that was it. And so yeah, I wasn't really interested when they announced this guy. I mean, I thought he looked cool, but I was kind of on the fence about getting him. But then the more I kind of looked at him and saw more about it, I thought this is a really cool looking figure. I mean, it's almost a deluxe figure in a way because of the stuff that you're getting and the amount of detail. And so, yeah, I mean, for an obscure figure, they really pulled out all the stops to make him look really cool. And the paint turned out very well. There's a lot of paint on this guy. So like I said, Hypno Shield, it's lenticular, right? Lots of snakes. And then you have the same logo that goes, it's in plastic green. So again, kind of hallucinatory, and it clips in. Very cool. And there's a clip on the back and a handle. And even that has a lot of detail on it, like sculpted in like tape or something like that. And looks like an old medieval shield here. Even has some scuffing in the back. So yeah, I mean, they did a good job on that. Has the crystal ball with a screaming skull in there. You might not be able to see it because of the glare, but you can pop this off. These tendrils are soft enough that you can get the dome off. So I just need to get my fingernail underneath there. I've done this already and it was easy to get off, but now I'm having a hard time. So here we go. Yeah, so very soft plastic on the crystal itself. And then hopefully you can see the screaming skull with the tendrils and the little suction cups on the bottom like you would see on a octopus or squid or something. So continuing with the Cthulhu motif. And if you've never read H.P. Lovecraft's Cthulhu mythos, that's you're in for a treat there. That's some crazy wild stuff. Read some of that years and years ago, but that is very cool. He comes with 3 hands. So he has an ungloved trigger finger hand on the right, and then he has an open gloved hand on the left, and then a gloved trigger finger hand because he does come with a firearm. Don't know why he comes with a 6-shooter, but I'll show it to you in a second. So I don't recall him being used in the comic, at least the original Marvel run. I'd have to flip through and see if he actually is in there, but he doesn't stand out to me. So, but I know he was used in the IDW run, maybe revamped and retooled and everything. And to kind of look something like this, I've seen some panels, but I haven't read that. Didn't read that far ahead into it. So, anyway, if you're into that, let me know in the comments, kind of like what's his story and everything. The head sculpt is awesome. I mean, it's very well done. Lots of good sculpting on the hair. He has long hair, so any kind of a character with a mullet or long hair, female character, the long hair is going to hinder neck articulation, and I'll show you that in a second. But turned out very well. Some people have complained about the gray at the temple, like it's just kind of too much, but there's not. I will say that it's uh, there's no overspray or anything like that. It's painted well. It's tight. The paint is tight. Maybe there's a little too much gray right here. Maybe a little light feathering would have been enough, and I would have been fine with that. It doesn't have to be solid gray. I think more of a salt and pepper would have been totally fine, but he kind of looks like Vincent Price, kind of look like how he looked in his 50s, and teeth turned out really well. The paint there, holy moly! I mean, I'm really impressed with that. The eye paint, the kind of lizard eyes or snake eyes there turned out really well. And let's see what else. Oh, he's got 5 o'clock shadow. So yeah, no real complaints for me on the paint. I mean, yeah, I mean maybe the gray could have been a little lighter, but on a whole, very cool head sculpt. I'm very pleased with that. Let's talk about the sword. And this is supposed to be essentially not real. This is just a hallucination, but it does look so cool. The flaming green scimitar. That is really awesome. Flaming green scimitar. So yeah, lots of detail. Turned out really well. Very impressed with that. And then here we come, kind of the center of the piece. Well, before I take it off and show you that, I want to kind of show the articulation of this thing, because there's a lot of plastic back here, this kind of weird sack, I guess, that while it fits, it kind of comes down over the fringe of the jacket just fine. You can't look up at all. You can look down a little bit. I mean, if you activate the ab crunch a little bit, you can look down. And the neck, I mean, you do have the floating neck and everything, but it's a ball joint. You can probably see it a little bit because the plastic's translucent. But turning, that's about it. You kind of have to get the tendrils out of the way, the tentacles. So not too bad considering. And the plastic is pliable enough. It's not going to break. It's not brittle. It's just, it's flexible, just flexible enough to get some side to side. So that's cool. But you're not going to get much forward or back bend. That's about it. So, and he does come with pendants, but the pendants kind of, I'll show you. It's more prominent on the human head sculpt, but the pendants, when you put the head on there, they kind of float around and they kind of get in the way. So yeah, so that's kind of how that head sculpt looks. And did I lose a pendant? Yep, I lost a pendant. Let's get that on there. Okay. And Lenny joked that this could be used as a pet. I don't know what you would feed this thing, but I'm guessing it's probably would be live no matter what it is. So lots and lots of details. So you got these ram's horns with very pronounced ridges, and obviously kind of a three-eyed skull with red eyes, black paint in the nose and around the ocular cavities, tendrils, lots of texturing too. So the bat wing kind of ears here, and then there's kind of like ridges and pitting around the skull and this weird sack. So anyway, I think there's probably too much plastic right here, and that's hindering. I don't know why they sculpted this back piece so low, but you can probably cut out some plastic right here and shape it a little bit if you are, if you're really good at that, and you probably get a little more range of motion with this guy. So I think this thing looks really cool, and I'm definitely going to probably keep displaying him the way I had him at the beginning of the video, and because it just seems like, well, he's kind of he's the interrogator, and so this his technology or his, it's almost like he's Scarecrow, like fear toxin or something like that. So he uses that to interrogate enemies of Cobra, and these are like hallucinations and everything. So yeah, it's kind of cool that they kind of expanded his story a little bit. Maybe we'll see him in future comic stories, what have you. But yeah, so here he is with the head, his normal head on, and with the fringe and the mullet, it kind of gets in the way with these pendants. So you can't really look up very far, and the pendants will just kind of pop up Looking down, they go down, but he can look down fairly far. That's not too bad. And good side to side. There's some resistance, you know, the fringe gets in the way, but the fringe of the jacket, well, the jacket itself is thin enough to be, you know, you can get it out of the way. It's not as thick as, say, the jacket on the Iron Grenadier. I had some problems with that, and so I'm thinking they're finally kind of getting to a happy medium with the, while they're not going soft goods, they're going to probably stick with plastic. It's getting thin enough to where we can work it, get it out of the way. It's not hindering too much, so that's great. So head sculpt is great. Pendants get out of the way, get in the way. Good paint here. Got some tattoo on his chest. Paint, kind of some kind of like, it almost looks Gaelic to me on the chest, on the shirt. And then he has some tattoos, some astrological symbols there on the right and the left. And they turned out really well. Very tight. Lots of gold on the jacket. So gold buckles here and there. Very good texturing. Some pouches and belts. It's all brown. So really cool. And with the shoulder pauldrons here, I mean, he actually gets a pretty good, surprisingly gets a pretty good T-pose. Kind of have to work it a little bit. I'm trying not to, I'm afraid I'm going to rip the arm off, but he can get a T-pose. And this, he's making me a liar now, so you may have to work at it a little bit, but it is possible. So I've gotten a good T-pose, but right now I'm not, so I'm not gonna force it anymore. But wait, there we go, and it's okay. I can get it better, but it just for the sake of the video and the length, you know, you may have an easier time of it than I am right now, but it is possible. And of course, it goes all the way around. There is something of a butterfly joint, which is surprising. And he does have the bicep swivel. The arms feel just a little rubbery in places. Kind of, you know, kind of like something seems to be going on with arms lately. You have a little bit of a wobble, you know, here and there on some figures. This guy's not too bad. Just kind of feels a little rubbery right in here, like around the bicep swivel, that sort of thing. So there is bicep swivel that's independent of the shoulder pauldron, so that is probably attached to the shoulder itself, but both arms can go all the way around. Pinless elbows. Lots of detail on the gauntlets here. Green paint on this jewel. He has some rings on his right hand, gloves, kind of clawed gloves on the right, or left, I should say. Black paint. Very cool. The legs are the TELE-VIPER, but the diaper is new, so we've got a little bit of a kind of a Egyptian, Illuminati, whatever kind of symbol on his belt buckle. And then he comes with a 6-shooter with a gold snake wrapped around it. So I don't know if there's a story to that, why they added that. If you know, let me know if there's any kind of significance to him having a gold snake emblem around his around the barrel there. So that's cool. And even the holster is new, so that's really cool. So other than the legs, and I don't know, maybe this torso goes to somebody else. I think pretty much everything on this guy is new. But these are good. These are definitely good legs. If you have the TELE-VIPER, you know what I'm talking about. And I think these legs fit him fairly well. They fit the character. I do like the style of the boot, the design on it. And he does have drop-down legs and everything. And if you get the jacket out of the way, he can, well, kick forward, no problem. Bend the knees. You can get back that far. and then boot rotation and ankle pivot and ankle rocker and all that kind of stuff. He can point his feet, and they go up quite a bit. So yeah, really good range of motion, despite what you would think would be limitations from the jacket. But he's a very cool looking figure. So other than maybe just kind of feeling a little rubbery right in here and having a little trouble with the T-pose, he's a really solid figure. And so I'm going to give him a warp factor of 9. I think he's a definite 9 on the 10 scale, that's for sure. Very pleased with him. More so than I thought I would be. And I didn't have any trouble getting him from Walmart. I was afraid he was gonna get canceled like so many other people had their orders canceled. But mine were not, and actually arrived in a box. So sometimes people have a hard time with Walmart, and sometimes it works out just fine. I, on a whole, have had no trouble with Walmart. So I don't know if that's just because of where I live or what, but for those of you who had trouble or had your figures canceled, hang in there. Eventually, he'll come back, and you'll hopefully be able to get him. So just think of it as artificial scarcity. It's okay. You'll be able to get one eventually, and hopefully not for scalper prices. So just play the long game. Okay, guys, thanks for listening to me. I hope you liked the video. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe. I'm trying to get to 500 subscribers by the end of the year, and you can help me make that happen. So if you like the content, you would definitely be helping me out by hitting that like button and subscribing and all that kind of stuff, and the notification bell. If you so every time I drop a video, you will know of it. You'll get a ding or something like that. So anyway, guys, thanks for listening. I'll talk at you guys next time.